Good morning, jr4. Hope all of you are okay. Let's start our lesson for today, which is talking about the types of adaptation. Don't forget, jr4, that we studied before what is meant by adaptation, and we said that adaptation means it's a way to help living organisms to survive and reproduce in their environments. Today we will talk about the types of adaptations, which are two types. Number one, structural adaptation. Number two, behavioral adaptation. What is the difference between structural and behavior? Structural adaptation is the change in the structure of the animals, the structure or the component jr5 in the animals. But behavioral, the change here in the behavior or in the reaction of the animal. Like what jr4? Like the blood vessels in the penguin's feet. It's something in the component or in the structure of the penguin, so it refers to structural adaptation. Or in case of the polar bear, it has a white fur or a thick white fur. Thick white fur or a white fur, it's something in also its components, so it refers to structural adaptation. But in the other hand, we have stagmal lizard or desert lizard in general. Once the or during the morning, the weather is so hot, so it starts to search for a shaded area, so it's something related to the behavior or the action of the animal. So it refers to behavioral adaptation, and also something called migration of some animals towards certain regions. Sometimes, Junior 4, we find that animals started to search for another places to live in. This behavior is started to appear especially in case of tough or hard weather. Sometimes we found that some animals live in a specific area but decided suddenly to go to another area. Why? Because the weather is totally changed and it become so hot or so cold, both of them. So they started to travel for a long distance in a certain times of the year. So migration means traveling for long distance and in a specific certain in the year due to the change in the climate. Okay, maybe to be extreme hot or extreme cold. Okay, now we will talk about examples about adaptation in details. Number one, we will talk about adaptation of foxes. Number two, adaptation of bull shark, and finally we will end with adaptation of panther in camel. Number one, adaptation in the foxes. We will talk about two types of the foxes. Number one, fennec fox. Number two, arctic fox. Each one of them we will know the habitat of it, the structural adaptation, and the behavioral adaptation. Let's start with the first one, fennec fox. Fennec fox lives in hot desert. So it means that junior 4, it will be surrounded with what? It will be surrounded with sand. So the fur of the fennec fox has to be sandy. Why? To can make the camouflage, which means that to can blend with the sand. But Arctic fox lives in tundra. Tundra, it's a type of desert. But the weather in this type of country or the weather in this type of desert in the winter is extreme cold junior 4. Temperature reach to 50 Celsius degree below the zero. So it means that it's so cold. So we will find that it's surrounded with the snow. We'll find that it's surrounded with the snow. So the fur has to be white. Why? To can blend with the snow. But that's during the winter. But in the summer, we found that the snow melts. So the fur has to change. Why? To can blend with the new environment. So we will find that the fur in the summer it changes to brown. So jr4, don't forget that. Until now we have two types of animals which have brown fur: brown bear or dark bear, and Arctic fox. Both of them have a brown fur, but you have to differentiate that. You can see Arctic fox. You have to see Arctic fox in the summer because Arctic has two different colors of the fur, white and brown. Okay, and also because and of course, because we said that it lives in tundra and the hot is extreme cold, so it has a thick fur. And any animal junior 4 has a thick fur just to keep warm. Don't forget that also. Okay. Now, if we take a look to these two animals, we will find that both of them has different shape of ears. We will find that the Arctic fox has a very long ears junior 4. Why? Very long ears to help Finnic fox to lose the heat to just feel cool. But in the other hand, we need the Arctic fox with the small ears just to keep the heat to feel warm. But both of them has a special shape of ears just to make their hearing very well to can hunt easily uniform. Now let's start with the second point, which is talking about the behavioral adaptation. I think that all I said before related to or refers to the change in their components. So they all refers to structural adaptation. Now we will find that the behavioral adaptation always refers to something that related with the behavior or their actions. Like what? Like they started to search for parents to escape or to hide in them. Why? In case of Finnic fox, just to feel cool or to escape from the sunlight. But in case of architect fox, so it starts to search for the browse to just feel sorry where why to escape from the snow, especially at the night. Okay, both of them live in dry desert, as you see. So both of them, unfortunately, they don't have the variety of food. And variety here means different types or different kinds of food. So they had to eat anything that they found. Like what? Like insects, like fruits, like plant roots, and even the leftovers from another animal's prey. Why? Due to the hard or the hardness of the hardness of the desert or the environment that or where they live. Finally, we will find that Finnic folks had the ability to pant like the dogs, and it reaches to 700 breaths per minute to just feel cool because or due to the environment that or where they live. Now let's start with the second one, which is talking about adaptation of a bull shark to survive in its environment. There are many types of sharks, and most of them live only in the salt water, except who jr4 good, except the bull shark. Bull shark had the ability to live into different types of water. Number one, fresh water, and number two, salt water. So bull shark had the ability to live in the fresh water and in the salt water. It will be their habitat. Now let's differentiate between the structural adaptation and the behavioral adaptation for bull shark. Um, let's start jr4 to separate the body of the bull shark into two different types. Number one will be the back of the bull shark, and number two will be the belly of the bull shark. Uh, Now we will find that the upper part of the bull shark is dark. Why, Junior 4? Because if any animal is swimming above the bull shark and started to look down, so they see the shark in the shadow, so it seems to be dark, so they can't identify the bull shark and they can't hunt it. So now I can say that bull shark can do the adaptation. Number two, the lower part or belly part, and we will find that this part is colored with white. Why, Junior 4? Because if any animal is swimming under the pool shark and started to look up, so they will find that the blending or the mixing between the color of the bull shark with the sunlight. So the upper part is black to seem black all of or to make the shark blend with the water, and in the lower part or in the belly part we will found that its color is white to can blend with a sunlight, so we can say that it had the ability to make camouflage, or the strategy, or this strategy of camouflage is called counter shading. Okay. Last thing in the structural adaptation will be it has sharp teeth. Why? To help it snake up its prey and tear their flesh. Okay. Uh, Also, Junior 4, don't forget that all of these are refers to the structure of bull sharks, so it refers to structural adaptation. But about the behavioral adaptation, we will find that due to it can live in the fresh water and in the salt water, so it has different types of food, and it can hunt in the day as well as نهوت عندي in the night. So junior 4, its a prey can't predict when this shark will hunt next time. Why? Because it doesn't have any time to hunt. Number 3, adaptation of panther chameleon. Lizard, or the type of lizard, is an ancient type of animal, junior 4, and we will find their bodies always is surrounded with something or covered with something called scales, and the scales always responsible for the colorful or the change in the color. Okay. I think that all of you know starred Eggman lizard. We started with it at the first lesson. Now we will talk in details about panther chameleon. Let's start with the first thing, its habitat, where it lives in the tropic rainforest. And the tropic always means something that will be colorful. So we will find that the first point in the structural adaptation, it has brightly colored scales. Why? To can blend or to can mix with the surrounding environment, which is full with colorful flowers. The second point is chameleon eyes move in opposite direction. How that? One eye can be searching for something to eat, while another eye is started to look out or look surrounded it to make sure that it is safe or there isn't any danger surrounded to it. Number three, we will find that it has very long sticky tongue. Why? To can use it to hunt the insects to feed on it. Finally, it has V shape. Why, Junior 4? Look at this picture. Look at the V shape of its leg. Why it has a V shape to can hold the branch very well, so we avoid the unbalancing for it. So all of them, we will find that all of them related to what a junior for super related to the components of the lizard. So it refers to structural adaptation. Now we will talk about the behavioral adaptation. Unfortunately, Junior 4, we will find that this type of animal don't have or this doesn't have teeth or any type of teeth to can defense for itself, but it has another thing that to can use it to defense for itself or to protect itself. Number one, once this type of animal feels that there is any danger surrounded to it, so it starts to puff up its body. Why? What is meant by puffs up its body means to increase its size. Why? To make the other animals scare from it. Okay. Number two, started to open its mouth very wide, Junior 4. Why? To also protect itself from any other dangers. Okay, and finally, it has something that we all know, which is changing the colors of its scale. Why? To can blend or to can mix with their environment. Super Junior 4. Now we finished lesson 2, so goodbye.